Hello everybody, this is Danny from Deep South Homestead on porch time this morning. We have a tropical storm that has just come ashore. It came ashore in Florida. Didn't actually come over here on us, but we have gotten a little bit of rain from it. We have not anything terrible, but that's not a bad thing because it's actually pretty good for us here. Our land has been needing watering, so that's we're gonna praise the Lord that it wasn't any worse than what it was. On porch time today, guys, you hear the roosters in the background, the turkeys are gobbling, and probably in a little while you're gonna hear the goats are hollering and the cows and everything else. Everything is waking up this morning. The title today, or title or subject or whatever you want to call it, is I Could Just Scream. Now I know that's kind of unusual, but follow along with me and we'll see what that's all about. I got so many positive responses from last porch time, personal emails, just letters, whatever. Everything come in and says, "Oh my gosh, Mr. Danny said, life must have really been great when it was like the way you talked back in the 60s." And I started in the 60s because that's what I knew about, because I lived it. And through the 70s and 80s and 90s, I told how things was changing. And guys, had so many people said, "Would you just please keep talking about this?" And really, there's only so much you can really say about it. I don't know that I can go any deeper as far as, I could tell more events that took place in my life, but I'm not sure that that would be that beneficial, So, but guys, there are things that are happening around us today that are biblical, prophetic, ignorant, on top of that. And sometimes it just makes me want to scream. I look back, and as I look out and I see the different things that are taking place, it's not about me anymore. I've come to that realization that I've lived most of my life, and I've had a good life. I lived in an era when I was able to enjoy things. But what it does is it aggravates me for my children and my grandchildren. And it makes me just want to scream at the powers to be, because, guys, and I'm sure there's a lot of y'all that feel the same way I do, is just leave everything alone. All of these rules, you can't move into a house and get an occupancy permit. First of all, you have to have permits. What is that? It's just another way for someone to control you and get $1 from you. They don't give a freak about whether your house is up to code or not. Guys, it's just about control. And I do understand, because I was in the construction business for some 26, 27 years, and I do understand some people have no business building anything to live in because it would just be dangerous for the family. And there are innocent kids that could be hurt. Fire traps. I see so many people with these tiny house conversions, taking sheds and converting them into tiny houses. And if that's all you can do, that's fine. But guys, be mindful of what you're doing. I see people putting the wrong kinds of heaters in these sheds. They emit carbon dioxide in, because I know how this stuff should hook up, and I do get where codes could come in at. But the bottom line is, guys, we just want to be free, out from under the thumbnail of someone. And I want my kids to have that. I want my grandkids to have that. I want them to have the same opportunities that I had in life. I want them to be able to purchase a piece of property and be able to build something if that's what they want. Or if they want to buy something that's already built, I want them to have that opportunity without having to sink themselves 33, 35, 40 now they're even talking about years in debt and paying an ungodly amount of money for something. What is this several $100,000 for a house? When I built the house I'm in here now, and my house has overkill. And when I say overkill, I mean it has a lot of overkill in it. A lot of fancy moldings and stuff like that. I was a contractor. I was building these $1 million homes. And when I built this one, my wife at that time, before she passed away, wanted a country Victorian. And country Victorians was all about elegance and all about these kind of things, guys. And I spent, way lots of money on this house that really probably should have never been spent, to be honest. I could be living just as happy right now in a smaller house and less fancy, easier to heat, easier to cool, because I'm going to be honest with you, in the back of mine and Wanda's mind right now, we're wondering in our older age, how are we going to heat and cool this house? Heating it especially if we're going into a grand solar minimum, because this house was not designed and laid out for wood heat. Now I have wood heat, that's the only heat I have, but it predominantly just heats a section of my home because of the layout of the house. Now I could install another wood heater in the other end of my house and probably heat both ends, but then that means twice as much wood, twice as much care of fires, it means twice as much of everything. And right now I'm just not comfortable with doing that. And we've often talked about, if we had to in an older age, we'd just move into the part of the house here we just do what we got to do. But guys, that's what's happened. Our society, we always say, let me put it this way, we always say, I want better for my children than what I had. And guys, at some point, a line has got to be drawn and say that what I had was good enough for my kids also, and for my grandkids. And I think we're at that point. I think we're at a point right now, we're looking back and we're going, you know what, the lives we used to have, those of us that are older, is better than the life we have today. We've allowed technology to come into our lives and advance us to the point that we thought more free time, better technology, more free time would be a better thing for us and for our kids. And basically all it's done is turned our kids into couch potatoes, sitting there with a little thing in their hands, doing this right here with their thumbs. They're gaming, they're staying on a cell phone all the time, rather than being out working and enjoying nature and enjoying the creation that God gave us. Our health is breaking down because of it. There's just lots of things, guys, that's going on that we thought we were really doing better and advancing, and there comes a point to where enough is enough, and we have to be satisfied with where we are. And I understand that within the world that we live in, there's always going to be those evil ones out there that love power, they love control, they love authority, and they will always be continually pushing for more technology. And if you allow those people to continue, then sooner or later they will come in and overthrow you. And I do get all this. But as a whole, I think our country, if they drop some of the restrictions on being able to have homes and living, and some of the HOAs and the covenants and things like this, guys, if some of these things were dropped back and the price of land was to just drop back down to where people could actually afford to do something. I mean, you look around us today, the only kids in this world that really stand a chance now are going to be kids from families that have a lot of land that they can just break some of their land up and give their child a piece of it. that's one of the things that we're just going to be, looking at as parents, is trying to have something that we can help our kids with. Because those kids who don't have that are going to struggle. They're going to have to pay that ungodly high price for everything and be in debt for the rest of their life and never really know what it is to enjoy freedom. And that's what I'm talking about. Sometimes, guys, it just makes me want to scream. And I know y'all hear in the background these aggravating, stupid dogs that there's never a morning goes by we don't have to listen to this. And this is another one of those things that makes me just want to scream, is the fact that I can't do anything about it right now because we have no ordinances. And this is one of the things I talk about. If you want to live where there are no codes and no ordinances and all these kind of things, this is one of the things that you have to contend with, is the simple fact that your neighbor can do that and there's nothing you can do about it. Now, it makes them not a good neighbor because, honestly, I don't care anything about those people. I'm just being honest, because they've shown themselves not to be a good neighbor by not controlling that. And that's one of those things I'm talking about. Sometimes you run into these type of situations, so be aware that where you move or where you go, things around you could change. Now, we've lived peaceably here for many, many, many years, or I have, for almost 30 years now, and never had an issue like this until we get one bad person and they destroy it for everybody, So, we say we don't want rules, and we say we don't want covenants, and we say we don't want ordinances, but sometimes this is what you have to deal with. You have to just go to God above and say, Father, please, can you not help us with this? And that's what we're praying about. And I have a whole team of people that's actually praying about this. And if you want to join in, you're more than welcome to pray about this situation. This can be eradicated. And we can have the peace and harmony that homesteading is really all about. That's what we desire here at Deep South Homestead, is to have like-minded people around us that are interested in moving forward as far as being able not just to stock up on food, because it's not all about stocking up on food. It's about being there for one another. It's about being able to help your neighbor. Deep South Homestead, Lori Family Homestead, we've been helping each other back and forth a whole lot here lately, because that's what we enjoy doing. It's two homesteads right here together, like-minded people. We use the same equipment back and forth on each one's farms. We have construction stuff, like y'all saw the video we put up about taking the limbs down around the chimney. Brian was helping me. As soon as we get through, I take the scaffolds over to Brian's house. They're my scaffolds. I'll leave them at his house. And I tell him, use them as long as you're building on your place. Hey, that's what homesteading community is all about. I needed some tilling done. I didn't have a tiller. Brian had a tiller. He came over. He tilled. Brian needed some work done with a bigger tractor. I went over and took my tractor and done it for him. So this is what I'm talking about. These are the kind of things that our children need to be able to experience, and our grandchildren need to be able to experience, and we need to be able to experience, is having these things that we can enjoy and work with one another. I have another neighbor that lives across the hill from me on the other side, way over here in the woods. He and I have worked together for 2 or 3 years now, since he moved in. We share things back and forth. We've traded animals back and forth. We've done all these kind of things, guys. It's made like a homesteading community that works here, and we're gradually trying to work with others in the community to do the same exact thing. I've cured bacon for one of my other friends that lives across the street from me over here, helping them out because they wanted bacon cured, and we know how to do it, and they know we do. They watch us occasionally here on YouTube, and we just, we welcome that. And that's where we're at here at Deep South Homestead. That's what we're talking about when we say we want to create community. It's about getting people together, helping one another. Kind of like the Amish do. The Amish kind of have a pretty good system set up as far as helping their fellow brothers and their fellow neighbors. That's admirable. Now, I'm not necessarily talking about religious beliefs. I'm talking about just helping someone. I don't care about your religious beliefs. I just want to be able to help you. And I believe that if we help one another, then in some way we portray what our religious beliefs really are, and how that we love one another, and that we show the love of Christ through us by helping others. And that, my friend, is what building a community is really all about. And I guess when I see that not happening, we see this situation like this with these dogs across here, it just makes me want to scream sometimes, because I'm like, can't you just work with your neighbors, you know? and I know many of y'all have sent me, you know, personal emails and private messages and stuff like that, talking about, Danny, I deal with the same thing where I live at, you know, and you just want to scream. You just want to be in peace. You want the government to leave you alone. You want your neighbors to leave you alone. You want the powers to be to quit putting so many rules on us. One of us people that we watch on YouTube talked about how that they had come in and annexed where they live at, and now they're having to live up to the standards of the rich and the wealthy, and they're afraid they may take their animals from them and all this kind of stuff, and they were just living a peaceful life in the country. And because city people moved to the country and trying to bring the city to the country with them and building these big old fine homes and all this kind of stuff, is taking away their serenity and their enjoyment in life. And guys, it shouldn't be like that. We moved to the country to live like country people. We want to hear the sounds of nature. We want to hear country sounds. We want to hear the chickens in the background. We want to hear a turkey gobble occasionally. We want to hear the goats bleating, the sheep, the cows mooing, the horses neighing, the pigs oinking, you know, the ducks quacking and stuff like this. These are homesteading sounds, and not the honking of horns and the hustle and bustle of traffic everywhere, and, you know, smog all in the air from exhaust systems, and, you know, the tires roaring up and down the highways. These are not things that bring peace and comfort, and screaming, squalling dogs, and these are things that, you know, that just don't bring the peaceful atmosphere you have around a homestead. Now, I'm not saying it's wrong to have a dog, y'all. Please don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with having a dog. I've had one for most of my life. I just don't have one anymore. Don't want one. This situation across the road has made me hate dogs, and I'm sure at some point when that's eradicated, my view on dogs will probably change. But enough about the dogs. But guys, this is what I'm talking about. Is sometimes when things happen, you just want to scream. Like, can we just live like our forefathers did, without all the rules and regulations? Can we just enjoy life? Can we just build us a small house and not have to have someone breathing down our throat about, well, you didn't do it right this way. You got to change this, or you got to change that, and, you know, you got to have insurance, and you know, you got to do this, and you got to do that. And guys, can we just live in harmony again? You know, is that ever going to be possible in this country again? I don't know. Now that we're entering into the age of artificial intelligence, I'm not sure if we'll ever be able to go back to living a peaceful, easy life anymore. Because it's getting harder, and it's getting harder as the days go by. I encourage you to buy rural and buy as much land as you can. It's not about the house, guys. Because the more land you have, the bigger buffer you can have. And you have the place, if you can get it paid for, that your children can possibly have somewhere to live without having to be 30-something years in debt, so that they never are able to enjoy life and have to work every day of their life on a rat race job somewhere. So I know a lot of times support time is not encouraging, but it's truthful. Y'all asked me to continue talking about what I talked about last week, so I thought I would take it in just a little bit of a different turn, a little bit of a different twist, to talk about some of the things that used to be, and bring it up to the way things are in a modern world where we live at today, and say that, hey, sometimes we just want to live free and peaceful again, you know. And guys, those of you that are in the path of the storm, please be safe. Take care of yourself. Take care of your families. We're doing the best we can here. It looks like we've avoided the worst part of it at this point. We have gotten some much needed rain from it, and we are thankful for the Lord for that. But our prayers are with y'all that are going through the flooding, especially Florida, central Alabama, all up the panhandle of Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, all these places over in there that's getting all this flooding from this thing. Our thoughts and prayers are with y'all, and may God bless each and every one of you, and thank you for joining us today on Porch Time. Thank you from Deep South Homestead.
And don't forget, guys, to check out our t-shirts in the link below. Our slogan is Deep South Homestead, where people gather and leave as friends. You know that whether it's here on YouTube, in the comments below our videos, whether it's on the live stream chats, whether it is on Facebook at the Deep South Homestead Gathering Place, or here in our home. When people gather, they leave as friends. So check out our t-shirts. They come in regular t-shirts, they come in the women's slouchy tanks, and we also have children's available this time. So when you gather at Deep South, you leave as friends. Thank you, guys.